Yes, I used to work in publishing and I have a few things to share about that. Most specifically, I want to share why I've chosen to self-publish rather than traditionally publish after having worked in the industry. Disclaimer, I'm pro traditional publishing and self-publishing. There is no one is better than the other, but there are pros and cons to both, and this is me sharing why I personally have decided to self-publish and skip the querying altogether. For one, I am writing a huge epic fantasy as my debut, which was an interesting decision career-wise, and frankly, traditional publishers in general would not take a new person on doing a series of that scope. So this is me introducing what I want to write into the marketplace without being controlled by these rules. I also appreciate the creative control that comes with indie publishing. You get to choose the cover, you get to choose the content, the blurb, the marketing, everything in a way that is just not how it works with traditional publishing. Sure, you get to be part of the process, but you don't get to make the decisions. And that's kind of a good thing because traditional publishers do know what they're talking about. They are experts for a reason. But it's also a creative industry, and with any creativity, there's still a lot of guesswork involved. Still getting my book edited. Even if you're self-published, you should get a good editor. You cannot skip that. That's why indie publishers sometimes have a bad name, because they skip these parts. Don't skip that. Out of everything, have a good editor and a good cover designer, unless you're a designer yourself, but again, that's its own thing. In traditional publishing, at least in the country in which I've worked in, marketing departments are small. You can only prioritize so much. If you're a debut, you're not going to be the priority. You'll still be marketed, but it will be different. It's no fault of the publisher, that's just the reality of capitalism. I worked in the marketing department for the majority of the time I worked there, started in publishing, moved into marketing, and frankly, I was overworked. I did the best I could, but you have to prioritize the things that will sell by you marketing them. And frankly, the authors that did better were also doing marketing themselves. Either way, you have to do it. Of course, with indie publishing, you have a much larger percentage of royalties, and the rights are all yours so long as you don't sign them away. For instance, a publisher can choose to stop doing reprints but not give you the rights yet until it's over, in case they decide to bring it back in case trends change. That is not something I really want in the hands of someone else. I want complete control over my own works and their print run. Again, pro both traditional and indie, but for me personally, who knows how the publishing process works, and for the project in which I am debuting, it is more appropriate for me to choose an indie publishing career.